This is not what a mains answer looked like. You would agree, right? Itna to tumne, you would have seen open public answer copies. But this, the credit to Animesh is that he did not shy away from even the weak one. He wrote the answer, however bad it was, however ill prepared he was. So this is the PYQ question which we had given to him in the Smash Mains part. Do you see the density of information over here? He was asked to only analyze foreigners like Annie Besant and Charles Andrew contributed to Indian cause of independence, discuss the role played by both. He discussed their roles, both of them, and then he went beyond the call of question. Other foreigners, who helped. You see the second page, bottom half? Now he has listed every other person who he knew. Aditya came to us in his third year of preparation, and that was the year he cracked the exam. Animesh, first attempt, cracked the exam. Lots such people. Pavan Datta ranked 22, I think, first attempt. He got 175 in interview. That's below average. Assuming people who have, gone through topper talks and whatnot, rankers, they get about how many marks? What do you remember? 190 plus. He got 175. The average was 176 or 177. Even if he would have gotten 25 marks less, which is 150 in this year's interview, his rank would be still under 20. Toppers are not people who are academically sound from the day one and all they're doing is just fine tuning. It's far from the case. This exam is not a rocket science exam. This exam is heavy on the right kind of मेहनत. So rivers of India का एक छोटा मेगा थीम हो गया इंडस रिवर सिस्टम. इंडस रिवर सिस्टम के अंदर की डायमेंशंस हो गई जो अब हम फिगर आउट करेंगे. ये 2 पन्नों में खत्म है इंडस रिवर सिस्टम. All you need to master river systems is this document and that map. That's it. Problem is never for the content, like you would have guessed, right? The problem is with the mentorship. Essentially, CD ki mentorship is known for, like I said in the first slide, we're just known for 2 things: fault finding and course correction. Ruthless about that. While we're like very nice and we take care of your mental health and we take care of your problems in life, etc., and we give a patient ear to that. All our focus is on fault finding and course corrections. Hi guys, hi everyone, good evening. I hope you know me. My name is Rohit. I'm the founder of Civilsdaily, and with me I have Ranadheer sir today. So this session will be into 3 parts. Part 1, and we're answering the simple questions. One, that all of us know that there are 3 things that we need to do. We need to complete our NCRTs and our basic reference books in time, preferably 2 months, maximum 3 months. Second, we know from all the rankers, everyone who we've heard, that we need to make our 1-pagers. ठीक है, तो वो भी सबको पता है because 1-pagers are very simple to revise, very simple to maintain, and very simple to update. And third, we know that somehow we need to get over the inertia of answer writing. So these are the 3 things which we will be talking about in detail in this video. The section taken by me would be NCRT and basically reference book coverage. And second, 1-pager notes. The section taken by Ranadheer sir would be on answer writing, and what he will do is he will show you the answer of a beginner and an answer of a ranker. And I will also show you the real copies of Animesh Pradhan, who studied with us for 1 full year under UAP Mentorship, and how did his answer writing improve and he joined us in February, okay, this same month. He joined us in this same month. How did his answer writing improve? And he joined for the next year. So अगर आप अभी join कर रहे हो for 26, I'll show you the answer copies of him from February, June, July, and then after prelims, right? So आप सब लोग देखोगे कितना उसमें फायदा हुआ है उसको as he kept on writing answers and kept on improving himself. Okay. Now, here's where we start. We'll take each of these topics and we'll deep dive into them, right? So the first thing is that we know that we need to complete NCRTs and reference books, and we need to also have some idea of how PYQs came from those sections. And so accordingly, we should underline the books and make notes. ये सबको पता है. Let's take the deep dive into how difficult, easy, or how challenging and trivial is this whole process. Okay. Simple question we'll start with. This first question on question number 53. It's from one of the UPSC Prelims paper. The question is with reference to the Indus River system. From the 4 rivers, 3 of them join one of the rivers and then it goes to the Indus directly. Okay? Simple question. Eh? If you look at the map, you can give the answer, right? Can you? Look at the map and what do you see happening here? I hope the images are very visible, right? So you see Jhelum, Chenab, and Ravi joining Satluj. So anyone who's done basic level of mapping can answer this question if you remember it. Also, the text related to this question is given in this basic NCRT geography book as well, right? It's difficult to understand and read this whole paragraph, but यहाँ पे है, ठीक है? Let's take a slightly difficult question. The question is very simple. The Dulhasti power station is based on which of the following rivers? Now, normally, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have a good command over your mapping system, right? So, आपको मिलता है in the in the internet or in Telegram, you'll get one map of Indian rivers, major rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, and you'll get another map of India ke dams. Correct? I hope you guys have these basic maps, right? And then for you to be able to solve this question, you have to be able to superimpose these two maps on one another. Okay? So can anyone tell me which Chenab? So you can superimpose Dulhasti Dam onto Chenab, and if you're able to do that for all the rivers, you'll be able to get the idea कि ये सवाल solve कैसे होता है. The idea is that while we are studying NCERTs and basic reference books, we should be able to solve the PYQs, or we should at least have an idea कि what are the kind of questions they're asking. A lot of time people do not pay much heed to these dams and Ramasar projects like question. They think these factual questions only come in lower level exams like SSC or state PCS, but no, these questions have come in UPSC as well. Now this question can be solved by a combination of these two maps. Still slightly simple. Let's move forward. And I'm kind of upping the game. Which of these three rivers did not? Which of these rivers did not originate in India? How many of you knew the answer to this question? And genuinely speaking, when such a question comes on prelims, you have just three options. One, either you know the answer, so you attempt it, or you skip it, or you will try to guess. You'll try to apply some trickdom, you'll try to apply some elimination technique. You'll try to guess the answer because prelims निकालना kind of tough ही हो जाता है आजकल, ठीक है? What we did at CD and then our mentorship program at UAP, we try to understand that while all the information is there, okay, I can take a paragraph from NCERT and show you that ये सब दिया हुआ था वहां पे, or I can show a map to you, like I can show this map, and ask you कि कहाँ पे है. अभी तुम देख के बता दो कि किसका ओरिजिन इंडिया से बाहर है. You can see Satluj, right? I mean, everyone can see it, right? But the idea is not to show you these things. The idea is to answer the question, why will you remember it? There are so many rivers and so many projects and so many dams and so many origins to remember. What would make you remember it? I mean, fair question, right? You guys are with me, right? Because the problem which is happening right now in the whole coaching space is that the answer which everyone has is that ये तो एनसीईआरटी से आया है, या ये हमारी कंपाइलेशन में दिया हुआ था, या इसके नोट्स तुम्हें बताने देने चाहिए थे. Real question is that with hundreds and thousands of facts out there, why will I remember this fact? What will increase my probability of answering this question? Here's the deep dive. Is the screen visible to everyone? Okay, guys, please go on mute. Whoever, and please open your video, yeah. I think now you guys are slightly more comfortable with the webinar. You know that we are going down a proper academic intense webinar. I hope you have paper and pen and some way of note making so that आप चाहे कैसे भी पढ़ो, even if you're doing self study, you should be able to make your notes and have analytics like this. ठीक है? Should I go in? I'll take 5 minutes in the next two slides to tell you how to actually approach PYQ analysis. Cool? I need yeses, yeah. I mean, I obviously cannot unmute all of you because it will create ruckus. But just give me a yes. All of you. Okay, cool. Now, mostly we see that, when you do a PYQ analysis, try to read through the options as well, which is an easier said than done task because, 100 questions, 4 options each, you have 400 ways to digress yourself. And, before you know it, you've wasted or, spent infinite amount of time on them. The question you should ask is, in the year that this question came, in the year before that, what could have increased my chances of attempting this question? That's actually the only question you need to ask. Okay. And then the second question you should ask is, how should my notes be made? What kind of map should I be having so that I make sure that I retain this? We will not go into the options first. And I know that there is no chance you can use elimination technique in this, right? There is no chance of using any elimination technique. So park it out. Indian river origins outside India. That should be an interesting trivia if you're preparing it with the right mindset. Curious UPSC aspirants, we would know that there are only 5 such rivers. Only 5 such rivers which have origins outside India. But even if you don't know that, in the year that this question came in, year and 2 years before that, this river was in news because of three reasons. Okay, and the reason I've listed here. Kishan Ganga hydroelectric project 2008 पे चल रहा था. There was the Wooler barrage issue with Pakistan. This is the whole Indus Pakistan issue which was going around. Okay, and so usually you will come across these news bites with respect to your mains current affairs. Okay, no one is going to give you and read a huge India Pakistan issue and then say, hey, by the way, that river, the origin is not in India. Should remember it. बहुत less likely होता है कि ये होता है, right? Makes sense, right? I mean, I want to keep this webinar very, very practical because I want to tell you how practical you have to study. I don't want to just overburden you with information and ज्ञान so that webinar खत्म हो और तुम कहोगे यार कोई सेंस ही नहीं है. So when you analyze this PYQ, the real way to analyze the PYQ is that what was the probability that I would remember this trivia. Now the probability can come from two places. One, the basic static stuff that you study. वो static study ही इतनी in depth हो और उसमें इतनी curiosity हो that you would have a note on what are these five rivers where origins is outside India. Can you tell me? Can you write on chat rivers which have origins outside India? Indian rivers origin outside India. Come on, guys, everyone, and switch on the video, yeah. People with the videos on are the only ones who are going to get chance first shot at getting their questions answered. Switch on the video if you're not in your office or some other area. But do write down Brahmaputra. Okay, cool. Sindhu. Let's find out. इंडस ब्रह्मपुत्र सतलज सबको पता था. बाकी नीचे की दो रिवर किसको पता थी? Hand on heart. This is the way your notes should be made if you're analyzing PYQs. Now it's difficult to make this level of notes. And so the idea is that you directly take notes at this level. यहाँ पे कितने engineers हैं, by the way, in the chat room, in this webinar? How many engineers are there? Okay. So this is how engineers work. You give them a problem, they'll make it into a table, columns and rows. And how many of you have worked on Excel, by the way? Engineers but didn't code and now working on Excel. This isn't chat GPT generated. In the sense that the information around this would be generated. The help would be taken from chat GPT or from the reference book. But the idea that you need to have a table like this, वो तुम्हें सोचना पड़ेगा. So when you go and study a PYQ like this, you have two options. या तो आप हर एक ऑप्शन की बाल की खाल निकालो, ठीक है, ये करते रहो आप, रावी यहाँ से, चुनाव यहाँ से, ये सब you can do this. या फिर you ask the only important question that why would I remember this? And you would remember it only for two reasons. A, current affairs had a very heavy mention of that particular news bite in the last year, or your understanding of the river system was such that you could point out a trivia. The third reason why you could have remembered is if you have maps like these. Now you remember the kind of maps I showed you. You usually have maps like these. There would be around 7 to 8 different kind of maps of India, right? किसी में रामासर साइट, किसी में यूनेस्को हेरिटेज, किसी में टेम्पल्स, किसी में national wildlife sanctuaries and whatnot, and rivers, mountains, passes, and whatnot, right? Depending upon which geography you're studying, those will have different features which you have to keep in mind and read in sync with each other. You cannot read maps in silo. You genuinely can't. Am I making sense? Whoever pasted this GPT, Tanu, yeah, obviously, that's not the smarts. You will get information from GPT, reference books, wherever. The idea is that think like this. When you understand the PYQ, analyze it like this. Make sure that your notes has a takeaway like this. Now, this year, we made, you will not find these maps anywhere else in the whole ecosystem. Nowhere else. And I can give you the guarantee for that. These maps have around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have around 10 attributes superimposed on one another. तुम यहाँ देखोगे ना तो आपको यहाँ पे दिख जाएगा वो दुलहस्ती डैम नियर द रिवर चिनाब. ये दिख गया ना? Is the map visible? I've tried to zoom it out as much as I can. You will find every minute detail around every feature worth studying for UPSC in this single map for Indus River. And essay, we have maps for different area and region, like we should be having. So one way is to analyze a PYQ like this, and then use your resources to make your notes like this. Another is to definitely have map like this. And now, if you will take even a moment to read this NCERT ka passage, which has a lot of facts, by the way, and see that you can find a lot of them over here. Okay, so people who are visual readers, they will find a lot of power, a lot of comfort in reading their geographies and reading the NCERTs with this. So that's part one. This is how your basic NCERTs need to be informed with PYQs. Okay, and I have so much to tell you, but I've kept this session crisp. Depending upon the kind of questions you ask, we'll go and deep dive into more stuff. Okay. अटेम्प्टिंग 2030 बिल्कुल भी यहाँ मत आओ यार, अभी भी मजे करो 2030 के बंदे जो यहाँ पे हो चैट पे जो लिखा है. द सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट एंड आई विल टेक इट द लास्ट. लेट्स फर्स्ट गो टू Ranadheer sir, who will, what he'll do is he'll pick up two UPSC mains questions from last year and will kind of give you a beginner versus a ranker appraisal. Okay, so that and you have to write the answers here as well, like for the fun of it. Yeah, let's just be a sport and write answers. कि वो topic आपने भी पढ़ा होगा, but where do you stand in terms of crunching the information to get the maximum mains marks? So we'll do the deep dive 3 first. Okay, we'll do this one. Randy,
Yes.
stage is all yours.
Yes. So before I start, I want you to have a pen and paper with you, at least. I hope everyone is ready with pen and paper, right? So
And guys, please switch on the cameras, yaar. You're here for about an hour. And this is the quality of webinar, which is almost a rarity in the whole industry. So if you can't, help us put a face to the name, it's it douse the motivation. I can go on and tell you so much stuff depending on the kind of enthusiasm and response I get. Randy, all yours.
Yes, because if we don't switch on the videos, we don't even know whether you are listening to us or not.
Yeah, it's just whoever is not comfortable switching on the video, either give a reason or you can feel free to work out here. Feel free to work out of the webinar. This is absolute highest quality material that you're going to get. With all the backing, all the proofs, everything. Nothing is just believe us. We've opened the back end of our analysis. We're kind of giving you how we do things, how we make notes, so that if you want, if you want to, ये सारी learnings ना लोगों को third attempt में आती हैं. And I'm being very honest. Third attempt people get to these learnings. They're not rocket science, but it takes time. We're giving you this tacit knowledge in the very first attempt. Whoever is having dinner or is in office, it's fine. But if you can open your cameras, please do. Because we feed off these information, right? We feed off how you're facing this. Cool. Randy, please go ahead.
Yes. So see, this time especially we picked questions from last year, that is 2024 mains itself. And amongst many, we picked only 2 questions per you to give a sample to you how to make your answer. Just read the question once. The duty of the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General, is not merely to ensure the legality of expenditure, but also its propriety. Full stop, comment. So please try to make a note, try to write an answer within like 1 or 30 seconds, like just pointers. Try to make pointers in 30 seconds. Let's see what pointers. Be true to yourself, because anyway you can see pointers on the screen, but still be true to yourself and take 30 seconds to write pointers.
I'll remove the question if it helps. The question was, the duty of comptroller CAG is not merely to ensure the legality of expenditure, but also its proprietary. पहले तो सवाल समझ में आ गया क्या था? CAG is not supposed to be just a mathematical head, है ना? That's कि वो mathematical expenditure legal हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा. The duty of CAG is to ensure the propriety.
Yeah, I think 30 seconds are done, I guess.
Yeah.
See, now, for example, if your answer contains these points, for example, like generally when we study CAG, right? In CAG, what will we study generally? We study about how they're being appointed, what is the term, what is the basic functions. We are given Lakshmikant, right? So that is what we generally write here also, right? It's the same thing, like they know CAG is appointed by. Generally, they start answer with saying that according to Article 148, CAG is appointed by President. Okay, under Article 140, something like that. So that's how they start. Whether it's relevant or not doesn't matter, because polity means article से introduction कर दो खत्म. So that's the thumb rule people generally keep with. So that's what every student does, right? Just like that. They know that 6-year term has 65 years, whatever is earlier, they'll do that. Then they'll know that CH is a constant body, same like UPSC and other things, right? Then they'll let basic functions, which Lakshmikant mentions. But the thing is, will that suffice for this question? Because yet they're not asking about duties of comptroller or general. They are asking us to comment whether what CAG is supposed to do and what it is, something in that level. Okay, because they're saying CAG duty is not just to do this, calculations of expenditure what government does, but also the relevancy or the accuracy of that, which has to be also looked into, right? So that's why. So if anyone of you have written these points, that means you are at a beginner level, and there is nothing wrong being at beginner level, because everyone starts from here. Even when I was preparing, I started from here itself. It is only after working for 3-4 months and work, then we get to the next level, which is also called as expert level, which we say the expert level actually. So here, see here now, while studying itself, whatever points are mentioned here, 6 points, what I mentioned here, I'm not asking you to mug up everything. Thing is, if you know all these things, at least if you know at least all these things, you assume the confidence. You just imagine the confidence with which you write the answer. That confidence of writing answer is very important while attempting UPSC. Understood? So with all these 6 headings of information, if you have with you, the level of answer writing will be different from the earlier answer writing. So look at just look at let us see what's there in this. So the role of financial integrity. Look at the words here. The choice of words is also different here. The way of your thinking also, I'll tell later on how you will think, how the ranker thinks while attempting or reading the topics. Analyze while reading itself, the topper analyzes role of guardian of public purse. Okay, so here the justice is being done to the word of proprietary, right? So when they are saying guardian of public purse, that means they should not only give the expenditure, but they also has to give expenditure in such a way that whether there's something wrongdoing is going to happen or not. That's also a part of CAG. So analyzing while reading CAG itself, you have to also see whether it's guardian of public purse or not. Okay, and then you have to also, that follows with beyond legal compliance to assess wisdom and effectiveness of spending. So they are beyond that. Okay? They just don't say that whether you are spending what is true or not and all those things. The same way, look at the third point here, comparison with constitutional bodies. So one thing, how many of us in the first reading of Lakshmikant try to compare one constitutional body to the other constitutional body? Right? When you are reading about SCAG, do you also refer to UPSC or Chief Election Commission or other constitutional bodies? Or in the matter of fact, do you also compare with other non-constitutional bodies? That's an important thing, because comparative analysis always gives you better clarity than otherwise. Okay, so please try to compare, so that, again, I'm saying all this exercise has to be done to build confidence in writing answer also, because that confidence helps you to make your answer more better than the other person having no confidence, not such confidence actually. And look at examines how CAG reports influence policy changes. Now, these things you should learn by reading newspapers and all those things, where you read news. Suppose, the famous Tucci scam, right? CAG said that there is 1.76 lakh crores of misuse of funds or loss of revenue to the government. So with that estimation by CAG, it is true or not is a different issue. Did the policy of spectrum change or not? So that's the impact of CAG. if you can understand, you can link with that example that the whole selling of spectrum has been changed after the revelation of CAG, that there is 1.67 lakh crore loss of revenue to the government. So linking with examples is what we rankers do generally. Okay. I think I'll skip to next question because it's taking a lot of time. Are you following what I'm trying to say?
So are you following? Matlab, is there a see? Have you guys gone through the CAG? We were very selective in taking the questions, which most of you can understand. So the important thing to know is that when you are at the rank level, you will even while you're answering the questions or while you're even attending such a webinar or reading some notes, you will tend to write in these languages: analyze, examines, explores, suggests. समझो ना मतलब your critical thinking would kind of percolate down on the paper. You will not be talking about facts.
Yes. Whereas in the beginner level, if you can see, it's like awareness, having knowledge about these things is the words we generally use actually. So
Correct.
beginner level is having awareness, having knowledge of these things. But a ranker level is like something which we analyze, which we explore. That means if someone says there is an asteroid, you go and explore what is asteroid, how many asteroids are there, something, maybe anything. But can we live on asteroids? It may be the most stupidest question, but still ask those questions like, can we live on the asteroid or not? What if we can live on asteroid? So try to explore things like that. In the time which you get leisure, right? When you go for it, have a tea or snacks, just think like this. Why can't we go and have tea on asteroid? Something like that.
I mean, think like this, right? Abhi tak level 1 is all about basic fundas. Level 1 is about essentially just knowing the basic facts, which rule is it coming under, which article, what's the term, etc., etc. And unless and until your study of current affairs, or if this topic is important in that particular, it has this critical language of talking. Okay, you know what is CAG recommendation informing on policy matters? Or ये सब तब आएगा जब when you're reading op-eds from diverse people, and then you make one liner notes. And I'll come to that. Like I've skipped the 1 page notes wala column. But let's go to another question. So I'll come to that. I'll take up a proper topic of the last month, January, and I'll tell you how do we go about it. How should you also go about it, regardless of whether you're a part of our UAP mentorship or not. So, and you'll be satisfied post that. Let's go to another question. Is that fair, or do you want to go to the notes, whichever way?
If the dose has become heavy, then we can go to notes.
Ah,
Let's get to the next question.
if this has become heavy, then we can do the notes, because notes are all more graphics and stuff. If you want to go to the next question, we can go to the next question also. Just do. There's no poll here, but if you could.
Yeah, looks like question only.
Looks like question only. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So just a second. I don't know where I have. Yeah, okay. Next
Yeah.
question.
This is very beautiful question actually. This is the question I liked a lot. Just let's do the question once. The soul of the new law, Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, which is IPC earlier, is justice, equality, and impartiality, based on Indian culture and ethos. Discuss this in the light of major shift from doctrine of punishment to justice in the present judicial system. My first question is, which paper do you think this question has come? GS 1, 2, 3, or 4? Come on, please write in the chat. Which paper do you think this question has been asked? Okay. GS 2, 4. Someone said GS 4, GS 2, 3. So majorly people are saying GS 2. Yeah, it's actually a question of GS 4. Yes. So that's the thing. So UPSC doesn't respect the boundaries between your papers. Okay. It breaches that boundary. So do us. We should also breach that boundary. So when you are reading a topic on polity, try to link with ethics also, economy also, environment also, if possible. Okay. Society also. So if UPSC doesn't respect something, we should also doesn't respect the same thing. Okay. Because we are aspiring to become what UPSC is. Okay. So UPSC doesn't respect. So that's why. So first of all, this question is from GS4. That's the first thing. Second thing, look at the wordings in the question. How can I say that even though if I don't know, I can just guess the question is GS score, because that's a level of preparation you should have. Look at the words of what the words they have chosen: soul, justice, equality, impartiality, doctrine of punishment. Okay, so they are the things which generally we don't use in polity or economy or society. Okay, so here they are hitting the soul, philosophical part of this law. That's exactly what the difference I will show you from basic to expert level. So look at the basic level. What does we know generally about BNS? We know that BNS has replaced IPC because of colonial law. There are different types of justice systems, right? What we say, retributive or reformative. Some retributive is generally used in West Asian countries. We generally use reformative justice, right? And there are some core principles like everyone in preparing for UPSC knows what is justice, equality, impartiality, right? If you have done basic NCRT, polity NCRTs, you will know what is justice, equality, and impartiality. Did you understand those? Are not a different thing actually, but at least you know what is justice, equality, and impartiality. Because what happens when I ask my students to read this particular book in polity NCRT, political theories, they read, and when they start discussing with them, they are unable to explain what is justice, equality, and impartiality. But they know what is that. So that's the level of beginners actually. Okay. So we know major amendments into IPC PNS, right? The famous statement said by Amit Shah in the Parliament saying that we removed sedition section of sedition. So you might have been attracted with those headings, like the basic changes of IPC to BNS. But look at what UPSC asked. And if I'm saying, trust me, that you will write these points only if this answer question comes. But look at what UPSC is asking. UPSC is asking the soul of new law is justice, equality, and impartiality. It's not asking what changes has been made from IPC to BNS. Okay, what are the new sections added? How many sections are there? That's not the matrix which UPSC is going to. Okay, so if you look at the expert level, then we'll get to know what all things which we generally need to focus. So after expert level, we will see how many of you have thought in the beginner level or in the expert level. Okay, look at the philosophical foundations. The shift from the same colonial era punitive approach to justice oriented. That's what the Home Minister claimed in the Parliament again. But newspaper will not give such heading to you. Newspaper will only say sedition ko hata diya. So that means we have to go beyond news headlines. That's one lesson you have to learn here. Examines, and when we say colonial era, so what is the difference between colonial laws and present laws? ऐसा क्या change आ गया इंडिया में कि we are opposing colonial laws? And are there only these three laws which are colonial nature? Because out of three, BNSS, BSA, CRPC is made by Indian government only 1972, if I'm right, 1978. So it's a new law only for us. So what is the nature of the colonial era law and what is the nature of Indian law which we are claiming for? Okay, so there are multiple dimensions of justice, right? In the polity book, if you read, you might come across all this: procedural justice, substantive justice, distributive justice. So these are a bit heavy words for you. So when we dig deeper, okay, when we read the chapter justice, okay, I'll ask simple question. How many of you know the difference between justice and social justice? If you can explain this properly, then the concept of justice which you read from NCRT is that. That means you are well prepared with the concept of justice. So many of my students, when I ask them the difference between justice and social justice, they generally can't explain the difference. So that shows that they're not preparing, they're not understanding things, but they're just reading things. So getting aware of things or getting knowing of things is just a beginner level. So to make it to expert level, you have to dig deeper. You have to understand what is there, what is actually. Look at the words actually. You have to understand each and everything. No? Justice, equality, impartiality. Three different headings are being given here. So you have to do the justice for these three different headings. In what way you do is up to you, your presentation skills.
And like this is so people who are, I'm sure some of you want the exact answer. How should the answer look like? That happens within UAP का smash mains component. ठीक है ना? Because that's when we take the smash mains का part, then Shubham sir will take you through all the PYQs and give you the frameworks to write answer. See, this is an exam. So while you have to understand the core philosophy of the subjects that you're studying. You also have to make sure that you're able to write the answer in the limited 250 whatever word limit in the right amount of time with the maximum density. ठीक है ना? तो इस एग्जाम के दो essential parts हैं. एक, you do not get bogged down by so much information. You should be able to make crisp one-pager notes, underline your NCERT's reference books in a way that you can revise them. Second, and doing that will ensure that you will clear prelims. Second, once you get to mains, you have to complete those answers in 250 words. And I'll show you at this point of time uh, Animesh ki copy. Okay. Is this okay? I just want to take the segue so that people don't get kind of on the fence. I'll show you Animesh ki copy on February, from February when he had just joined his week 1 with us. And then I'll show you his copy just after prelims. Should I do it? Or do you want to continue discussion on this question? Guys, I mean, we'll now carry this webinar as you want, because now I think all of us have established some comfort with each other. We know what we are into. Okay, cool.
They want to see his copies, it seems.
Okay, so this was Animesh ke marks. Do you guys see something interesting in his final mains ke marks? I mean, engineers here who can analyze, बताओ इसके marks. पूरा स्कोर कार्ड में what strikes you as interesting?
Interview proof. Yanvi says interview proof.
Okay, Yanvi, have you been in our webinars before? Very few people are able to say this, point it out in the first go. No, these marks are actually interview proof. You see that, right? He got 175 in interview. That's below average. You would have, I'm assuming, people who have, gone through topper talks and whatnot. Rankers, they get about how many marks? Come on, guys, just type it out, right? What do you remember? Yeah, 190 plus. He got 175. The average was 176 or 177. Okay. Even if he would have gotten 25 marks less, which is 150 in this year's interview, his rank would be still under 20. I mean, we did the. That's how brilliant his mains preparation was. Okay. And now let me tell you how his first attempt was when he had come. This is February, when you join UAP, then you have the weekend current affairs classes, and then we give you some questions to write answers. So however ill prepared you are, we would nudge you कि चल लिख तो कुछ भी लिख. We'll get it checked and we'll give you, a feedback. The question was on anti-dumping duty and the difference from countervailing duty. Very simple question, almost a factual question. Okay? But see, he missed the second part completely, where he had to put down the difference. And anti-dumping duty भी उसने ढंग से define नहीं किया. This is not what a mains answer looked like. You would agree, right? इतना तो तुमने, you would have seen open public answer copies, right? But this, the credit to Animesh is that he did not shy away from even the weak one. He wrote the answer on the weak one, however bad it was, however ill prepared he was. He was only studying current affairs. Abhi to he had not even started reading the reference books and the value added notes. Yeah, he didn't depend upon Rishikesh, you're right. And this was close to post the prelims. So this is the PYQ question which we had given to him in the Smash Mains part. Do you see the density of information over here? He was asked to only analyze foreigners like Annie Besant and Charles Andrew contributed to Indian cause of independence, discuss the role played by both. He discussed their roles, both of them, and then he went beyond the call of question. Other foreigners, who helped. Do you see the second page, bottom half? Now he has listed every other person who he knew. And when you have so much information and you are able to retain and remember it, then automatically all the diagrams come about. So the question which most people ask is, sir, what kind of diagram should we be making? You don't have to worry about it. Just get your basics correct. Diagrams and, hub and spoke model will automatically come. Have so much deep knowledge that you can go beyond the call of question. Okay. Fair. I just wanted to share this with you so that you understand that, toppers are not like people who are academically sound from the day one and all they're doing is just fine tuning. It's far from the case. This exam is not a rocket science exam. Exam is heavy on the right kind of mehnat. Okay, so from the day one, when you start to prepare seriously, sincerely, you cannot waste even a single week. I won't say a day, but week waste नहीं होना होता है. So when we do the UAP mentorship and Ranadheer sir, we used to have initially you will have checkpoints every week. And as you mature, as you grow up, you will have like once in 2 week checkpoints with the mentor. And those checkpoints are not doubt resolution. It's ruthless prioritizing. Now let me take you to the notes, one page of notes. Are we ready for that? Can I? So we were here, right? This is where broadly where I left you guys, right? You have, if you go and prepare by yourself, or if you're not, you don't have the right material, then you will have 11 maps. Even the most sincere person would have 11, 12 different maps. And if not maps, then you have a lot of tables which do not have multi dimensions. So आप वैसे ही पढ़ोगे. And then, not that you can't clear those questions in prelims, it will become so daunting for you that you will not be able to manage the revision time properly. This is as real as it gets. One single map which has all the annotated sites which are asked in UPSC will solve this question for you. Now, with the same mindset, we go and we make our notes. Okay, so किसी ने पूछा था कि annotated NCRTs का क्या फंडा है. पहले तो वो क्लियर करते हैं. What we did was we sat down the annotated NCRT thing. ठीक है. NCRT reading should not just be, I mean, NCRT is packed with information, yaar. Packed, densely packed. I already showed you in the map wala thing. Let me, I already showed you what happens with this. इतनी packed NCRT होती है. You have to be able to resolve this paragraph into a map or a table which you can revise. Otherwise, you'll keep highlighting this and it will just give you more textual troubles. Nothing you will retain. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you must have gone through some of this headaches already. What happens when you do the NCRTs properly is आप 2-3 तरीके के NCRT के नोट्स बना सकते हो. One, information which is very counterintuitive. जैसे कि ये. Do you read this? Green highlighted stuff. Do you read this thing? No mention of cow at all in any seal. All from NCRT, but the kind of question which Prelims gives now is it will automatically ask your question and in one of the option it will say, and the seals had cow figurines in it. And you would assume because cow ka itna halla ho rakha hai in the political climate that we live in, you'll be like, yeah, fine, maybe cow would be there, and you will not be able to eliminate properly. But if you read your NCRTs and you'll keep pointing out, hey, this is an odd thing, and I have to make a note of that. That kind of notes are useful for you. If you're able to, आप ये देख रहे हो, animal bones found in Harappan site included those of cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, and pig. You should be able to strike out something which find you very important. Either that, or if you find out there is a PYQ which was asked, and now you can find a relevance in the NCRT, point that PYQ. If it's not a UPSC PYQ, still point it out. EPFO, GO exams से बहुत reference होता है prelims में. Right? So your NCRT should be like that. Then, if you're able to make quick trees, quick simple diagrams, जैसे ये हो गया. देखो यहाँ पे, there was no citadel. Then your NCRTs are easily revisable. You do not have to make your, like what I say, paper pen notes for the NCRTs. Okay, so all of your NCRTs, we've annotated them. All the major ones: geography, history, economics. I think economics is done and polity also. For these 4 NCRTs, we have annotated. They're in process of getting annotated with multiple revisions. So NCRTs, you do not have to make your separate notes. You just have to study like this. अब क्या फंडा आता है? Let me just show you. Let's go to this. I'm keeping our focus on the rivers of India topic for a reason, so that you're able to actually see the end-to-end analysis and resolution of one topic. Okay, I could have given you, there are different notes, but I want to show you. So I showed you the PYQs of rivers and mostly geography. I showed you the super maps. And now I'm going to take you through one of the documents, the kind of level of documents that we make, the content which is now needed in 2025. Okay. Like we saw in the map, these are the dimensions that you need to understand, right? The ones on top right. So when you make your notes beyond NCRT, you have to take care of these 12 dimensions. ये दिख रहे हैं ना जो first page पे? Now, not all dimensions would be relevant to every river system, but इसके beyond कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है? That's it. That's for sure. Now, depending upon which peninsular or Himalayan river जिधर भी आप जा रहे हो, you might not have all the dimensions, but beyond this, there is nothing that you need to, tinker with or think about. And so, let's say you're preparing on your own. Let's say you haven't joined UAP or any mentorship program for that matter. Your idea should be that if you've gone through the NCRTs first, and if you've gone through the PYQs first, you should be able to figure out what are the themes that UPSC is really asking. ठीक है, यूपीएससी का सिलेबस एक होता है which has 100 themes, and then there are few themes which are most recurring in the UPSC question paper, right? We call it heat map in engineering parlance, or we at CD call them micro themes. That there are some themes which seem to be the most prominent ones for UPSC. So if you are crunched for time, if you don't have all the time, if you do not have 2 years for preparation, you at least should cover those micro themes. Is there anyone preparing for 2025 in this webinar, by the way, by any random chance? Anyone preparing for 25 over here? Nahin, na? So you guys are all 2026 or 2027? Correct? There are 25. So
Yeah.
25. नहीं किया है तो there is a dominant prelims crash course. I mean, please check about that with us. 26, 27 people, you are at the best place in time for this. अब पहले तो आप सारे प्रीलिम्स के सवाल समेट लो इंडस रिवर सिस्टम के अराउंड, ठीक है? तो रिवर्स ऑफ इंडिया का एक छोटा माइक्रो थीम हो गया इंडस रिवर सिस्टम. इंडस रिवर सिस्टम के अंदर की डायमेंशंस हो गई जो अब हम फिगर आउट करेंगे. ये 2 पन्नों में खत्म है इंडस रिवर सिस्टम. All you need to master river systems is this document and that map. That's it. You have to be able to study different tributaries under these 12 dimensions which we just mentioned on the cover page, and everything is done. इसके बाद रह जाता है बस कि आप, and not just that, even the minor rivers. So if you see the PYQs, you see, oh, minor rivers are also mentioned there. I mean, their direction. Now, you might choose to skip some of these questions when you're actually attempting prelims, but at least you're covered 100%. Your bases are covered 100% with the content. And this level ka dense and crisp content, there's nowhere. Nowhere, practically nowhere. This is updated as per the standards right now. Okay, and this is for every small topic. So Rivers of India would be like one micro theme. And Rivers of India, and if time permits, I'll show you the whole document. It's a 50-page document, very nicely designed so that you don't feel bored or you don't feel overwhelmed. But that's the idea. So, we keep updating. There are these documents around, flash notes, which we call them, and it's for everything. Okay. अब प्रॉब्लम आती है डेली न्यूज की. सो अभी तक हम क्या क्या कवर कर चुके हैं? आई हैव शोन यू दैट देयर इज अ बेसिक एनसीईआरटी बेसिक रेफरेंस बुक स्टफ व्हिच यू हैव टू स्टडी. यू हैव टू स्टडी इन अ वे दैट आप पीवाईक्यूज से रेलेवेंस एस्टैब्लिश करके चलो. द ओनली वे टू एस्टैब्लिश रेलेवेंस विद पीवाईक्यूज इज ट्राइंग टू फाइंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ डायमेंशंस इज यूपीएससी एक्सप्लोरिंग विद इन दिस स्टैटिक. ठीक है, आई एम समराइजिंग. इफ यू वांट मी टू मूव अहेड, आई कैन क्विकली मूव अहेड आल्सो, बट इफ यू वांट मी टू समराइज, आई विल डू दैट. Once you've established the relevance, then your notes should look like this. NCRTs की notes बनाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. The annotated NCRTs work just fine. But, like I said, we solve the problems like engineers do. Simple column and rows would work. So you just need these 3 pages to cover Indus, and likewise Ganga, and likewise Brahmaputra river system, and likewise peninsular rivers, and northeast and stuff like that. Okay, you will get the NCERTs. By the way, the content, this high quality content, by the way, part of it, like at least 25% of this high quality content is free for everyone. Okay, what the problem is never for the content, like you would have guessed, right? The problem is with the mentorship. Essentially, CDK mentorship is known for, like I said in the first slide, we're just known for two things: fault finding and course correction. Ruthless about that. While we're like very nice, and we take care of your mental health, and we take care of your problems in life, etc., etc., and we give a patient ear to that. All our focus is on fault finding and course correction. So when you join UAP, your week one is about understanding where you stand. कितना कर लिया, कितना रहता है, जो भी तुमने किया, we'll test you on that, and then we'll tell you, hey, you have to patch it up at this level. We'll give you the kind of material which we have developed. If we haven't that level of material, we'll give you the free resources. Whatever the content is will not be an issue for you. The only issue for you would be to making sure that you ruthlessly prioritize your studies. UPSC ना सिर्फ एक साल का गेम बनाओ यार. Whoever is giving in 26, 27, एक साल maximum दो. दूसरा भी इसलिए क्योंकि sometime it happens that when you're giving the exam, you realize that either I have some mental block or there are some blind spots which I still could not discover in the right time. 2 साल से ज्यादा का गेम मत बनाना यूपीएससी को. आदित्य पांडे, rank 48, when he had come after leaving job at ICICI, he had given 2 attempts already, खुद से self study करके, but he wasn't able to diagnose his own problem. He's an IIT Roorkee से MBA यार, and he was working at ICICI in Bombay. So I mean, basic दिमाग तो था ही. But ये exam demands very ruthless prioritization. I'm again saying prioritization is what this exam wants, not your academic excellence only. Okay? And therefore, when we make the content, we make it micro theme oriented. PYQs heavily, very, very heavily tell us where to stress on. You follow Aditya, right? Aditya came to us in his third year of preparation, and that was the year he cracked the exam. Animesh, first attempt, cracked the exam. Lot such people. Pavan Datta, rank 22, I think, first attempt. Okay. So with that, let me segue to the last topic. Okay, current affairs, which I am assuming is a pain point for everyone. Correct me if I'm wrong. नहीं है यहाँ पे सब कूल है करंट अफेयर्स से. यू हैव इट अंडर कंट्रोल. एकदम टाइट है सिस्टम. This is the last leg of this webinar. You guys have been such a patient listener for about 50 minutes. I'll tell you the problem with current affairs. The fundamental problem with understanding current affairs is that before starting for civil services exams, we had given two hoots about the news around us. Zero rats behinds have been given to that. Okay? And then the second problem is that you don't have your static covered. So when the technical terms around static, either foreign policy or economics, they come to फिर there's another digression which you take. So either you are able to take that digression successfully or not. Even if you're able to take that digression successfully, basically means that you can quickly Google up the terms and etc. etc. You only know the news of the day. Okay? So I've taken basic Google search, right? So India EU relations in January were a lot in news if you've been reading newspaper. So you will have op-eds, you will have news items, you will have developments happening, whatever, right? They're not given a UPSC exam, right? These are newspapers. They're not writing any exam. So they don't have to be making sense with every article. You have to. You've taken the trouble for writing civils. Everyone who's giving me a DM, na yaar, mat karo, because I am kind of, during the webinar, I cannot answer queries. We'll have a 10-15 minute session and I'll ask you to go with your audio video on. बेटर है कि आप व्हाट्सएप का लिंक पे मैसेज कर दो. निशा पांडे इज वन ऑफ आवर टीम मेंबर. शी विल रिप्लाई टू योर क्वेरीज. ओके, लेट मी कंटिन्यू. तो अभी क्या है ना, if you lot of people don't understand in the first year, but in the second or third year you will realize that there are few nagging issues with respect to India since the time of our independence. There are some structural issues जिनकी chronology चली आ रही है. And what we see on a day-to-day or a week-to-week or a month-to-month basis are basically developments on top of that. Am I making sense? And I'll show you this how. Well, when you do not know the whole context, then you're actually just skimming the surface. Oh, we are signing a trade deal. if we sign this trade deal, this route will be shortened by this much. Oh, and next day news will come that China has put in a roadblock in that, and then you'll discover another. I'm just talking about the international relationship, so I'm just taking that thing, and then you'll have some op-ed writer writing this relationship is most important than ever because in certain presidency or certain prime ministership we screwed up here. Now we're trying to make amends. So you will have all these opinions, but you will really not have the bedrock of what's the context with India and EU. And surprise, India and EU में से ना अभी we've never had a direct question in UPSC. So when you'll go and understand UPSC के PYQ analysis, you'll see, oh, there was no question on EU and India. And that's truly the case. There was one question tangentially, and I'll show it to you. So now you're really at loss. Should I be reading this? Should I? Because op-ed writer तो लिख रहे हैं ना, उनका काम तो अलग है. So what we do at Samachar Manthan, which is part of the whole mentorship program UAP, we take weekly calls on what news is worthy for you to understand. Okay, that's part one. Second, we select few questions and we ask you to write on that. And then you have to write the answer and we'll give you, that's what you show Animesh ka copy. Third, which is something we've started doing from last October, this October the 1 went by. We take up 20 topics of the month. We call them burning issues. And we give you the whole Ram Kahani behind that. Nishit sir and Purnima ma'am, they take the classes. Let's take through this. This topic was so much in news in January that it finally made it to the burning issues. Now, note for student पढ़ लेना अगर आपको विजिबल है, बट नहीं भी है, और अगर आप बेसिक फंडे से भी सोच रहे हो, फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल से भी सोच रहे हो, तो यू विल नो दैट कुछ कुछ सवाल आएंगे, राइट? व्हाट इज दिस एफटीए 2.0? यू माइट नॉट हैव बेसिक आइडिया अबाउट इंडिया एंड यू रिलेशंस फ्रॉम द पास्ट, राइट? या फिर अगर आइडिया होगा तो बहुत सारे पन्ने हैं, आप कैसे पढ़ें, क्या समझें, क्या टेक ओवर करें. Have we been at loggerheads in different time periods? Have we been cooperating with each other? How have we been aligned politically, ideologically, what's not? And this economic diplomacy under which this news came now, what's this funda? Right. So now, if you're thinking properly, you've increased the ambit of your analysis to fairly larger pointers, right? Am I making sense? Is this how you think or you would love to think? Come on, guys. I mean, do you want me to go slow? If it's not making sense to you, if it's too high funda, let me know. I'm just talking about the approach, the critical approach for a UPSC aspirants. Everyone here, whoever is left now, I think you're the most sincerest bunch. So 80 plus folks we have. Okay, I'll try to go slow. But these 5 would be the questions which would come to you. Fair? Do you see the question in 2023 which came in GS2? The expansion and strengthening of NATO and a stronger US-Europe strategy partnership works well in India. What is your opinion about this statement? Give reasons and examples to support your answer. So directly India-EU नहीं आया, but एक US-EU relationship, NATO, इन सब के context से एक सवाल आया. People, whoever wants month-wise preparation strategy, I mean, I have it towards the end, but I mean, honestly speaking, it's not a one-pager I can give you. If you are serious about your preparation, talk to our mentors. And they will help you chart out the whole strategy. If you can join the UAP Mentorship program, it's a proven program now. You will have month-wise strategy and you will have people, mentors like Ranadheer sir, who will be on your head and will keep nudging you. ये गलती करिए, ऐसे सही करो. There are no easy answers. So ask even more complex question on the webinar. I'll be happy to answer, but let's take this forward. So when you have such a thing for the whole month, like engineers, we will reduce it to tables and columns. I could have written pages. We could have written pages of theory on this. But all that you need to care about is, first of all, you should know the phases of a relationship. Okay, so the phases would be right from the time Nehru guided the policy, and then from the time 2014 happened. And somewhere around that, you will see that there are there are around 6 distinct phases which define how India and EU interacted. अभी अगर कोई न्यूज़ पढ़ रहा है तो बताओ ईयू में क्या आइडियोलॉजिकल चेंजेस दिख रहे हैं आपको? What kind of governments are getting formed in EU? What ideological governments are being formed there? कोई भी, I mean, there's no wrong answer. More conservative right wing, yeah. Where's Shreya? Is your video on? No. Somehow people who are answering, they don't have their videos on. People who have their videos on, they're not. Okay.
Is in office, it seems.
Yeah, what?
Shreya is in office, it seems.
Oh, okay. Right. I'll come to it, Janvi. Everything is covered in this magazine. I mean, have you guys downloaded any version of Burning Issues, by the way? Anyone has? No, you don't know about? Okay. Uh, so this table will give you a sense of how our relationships, what were the broad headlines of our relationship. Okay. I'm not going to go into lines. This is not a class. This is a strategy session. Okay. हाँ पीडीएफ सबको मिल जाएगी यार पीडीएफ सब मिल जाएंगी कोई लोड नहीं है उसका and then you need to have a specific idea around what were the challenges which we faced ठीक है एंड challenges के जो ये लेफ्ट साइड है ना जियोपॉलिटिकल डिफरेंसेस इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड बैरियर्स डिफेंस स्ट्रैटेजी डाइवर्जेंसेस टेक गैप्स स्ट्रक्चरल बैरियर्स trust me I can replace India EU with India China India US anyone else and you need to have challenges across these 5 headers ठीक है so I'm just trying to tell you this is your note making आप किसी भी कंट्री के बारे में इंडिया एक्स कंपेयर कर रहे हो यू नीड टू हैव the leftmost column as your basic funda and then you need to have examples so what people miss out on is the last column usually because examples अगर रखते हो ना उससे दो फायदे होते हैं पहला it becomes less boring second you can use these examples as either anecdotes or context in your answer writing I'm being very very practical see I'm an IIT graduate I graduated from 2009 I did electronics I can make this very academically dense and तुम्हारे पर खच्चे उड़ सकते हैं वो फायदा नहीं होगा ना तुमको यू शुड बी एबल टू रिमेंबर स्टफ the magazines the content that you're studying the mentor under which you're studying should be such that he should make things peppy for you while at the same time should not douse the quality of content to almost trivial level अभी 5 टेबल हैं इसमें और and that whole would combine करके बनाता है इस आर्टिकल का क्रक्स if you want I will show you the magazine also the full magazine also so challenges this is fair now we go to back to basics so someone said that how can we understand the back to basics funda of the real problem so the real thing now is India's economic diplomacy you might not get this kind of table and content in a reference book okay because economic diplomacy might not be given a very special treatment as a chapter wise treatment in most books Indian international relations की वैसे भी नहीं है मतलब we just have reference books मोटा मोटा and so when you now study India EU relationships at the backdrop of economic diplomacy, you'll get more context. Am I making sense, guys? When you think like this, then if you remember Ranadheer sir का जो CAG का question था, which was about CAG is not just supposed to see that the expenses are under the legal heads, it's also supposed to comment on the proprietary. Now, if you were studying around CAG in that year, आपको क्या करना होता होगा? You would be making a table for the study, for the fun of learning. पहले तो आप एक टेबल कोई पढ़े होगे या कोई अगर आपको बताएगा अच्छा मेंटर की कैग और इंडिया की हाउ इन्फॉर्म्ड वाज कैग ऑल थ्रू आउट आवर जर्नी राइट कैग वी ओनली हर्ड व्हेन विनोद राय केम राइट उससे पहले किसी को पता था कैग का डिड एनी वन ऑफ यू एवर गिव अ थॉट टू सीएजी no we didn't so certain people they blip out and they make something so special and it comes out in the radar right so for the fun of learning and the the hype you would know oh this is what CAG was doing CAG was this important and then it was not and then suddenly we know that I came and this happened and then you'll go for the next and you'll say okay what are the instead of challenges you will say what is CAG supposed to inform upon one of them would be legalized expenses another would be proprietary third would be informing the public policy and so on and so forth and then one example अब उनमें से कुछ example would come from Vinod Rai's reign, some examples would come from some other reign, some other CAG's, office. But you'll get some sense. And then like either the back to basics is Indian economic policy, there the back to basics could be, okay, different bodies, CAG, UPSC, etc. What are their mandates? When do they cross path with government? When do they inform about कि ये government गलत कर रही है आप सोच सकते हो ना I mean with me in this session you can think around right कि This is how I would imagine to prepare. And let's say if you're not preparing alone, if you're coming to sessions like these and maybe more academic sessions like these, you'd love it. You'd love to know India like that. And also, you'll get tables so that they're easy to remember. And then you will, in this context of India-EU relationship, you will get to know the challenges in Indian economy diplomacy. Do you want me to show you the magazine, like a quick summary, a quick, I mean, rundown of the magazine? Yes, no? Yeah. Let me download the latest one. But by the way, type down your questions if you have any. I'll take the questions as well. The 70 folks who are left here, trust me, you can ask any question and we'll answer that. We'll get you to speak on the mic. And is back to basics enough for static portion of use? More than enough. More than enough. Back to basics is not trivial over here. There are more basics which we haven't covered because वो basic reference books में covered हो जाते हैं. Burning issues like are the hardcore stuff. Let me share the visible है? Can you see this? Let me know guys if I've shared it. Yes, no, can you see the screen? Okay. No. Cool. So burning issues has 20 issues every month, not more than that. At most 20. And then there are prelims tidbits, the factual stuff which comes on the news, which you may or may not know. And the funda of burning issues is that there is a note for student which will tell you what to study, how to study. Okay. There are previous year questions which will give you a sense of why should you study this burning issue. So we are heavily on context. We will not let you spend time on something which we don't feel is important. And we will give you the proof. Don't take our word for it. We'll give you the proof. That way, prioritization will always remain ruthless. That's what mentorship for us mean. We're not about dog solving or giving you a simple timetable ke pad lo. Point in here. Burning issue along with newspaper burning issue is enough. And along with Samachar Manthan is what we feel. Okay. Now let me take you to I picked up one of the issue which was India EU. But ऐसे सब बहुत सारे हैं. Patriotism or compulsion. This is a debate which will be a GS2, which will be a GS4 issue, right? And we tell you this article offers a deep dive into the laws and practices regarding the national anthem in India, presenting a balance between respecting national symbols and protecting individual freedom. UPSC often frames questions focusing on constitutional provisions, fundamental duties, or landmark judgments. Okay? So if I'm making you read this topic, if you're coming to class, I will also tell you eventually what were the major judgments. This is the back to basic portion of constitutional patriotism. Okay, na? So I will tell you what were the major judgment in past. I will give you examples and elements of constitutional patriotism in India so that you have the back theory of the whole context before you commit to this current affairs article. And 2 या 3 पन्ने max and you're done. And this is the level of news analysis that you need to do. And I'll just take you to the EU thing, which I showed you there, but I picked it up from. This is the latest edition of Burning Issues. Yeah, we've made this magazine really, really beautiful. Yeah, this is the India EU. Rishikesh, I'll come to the mains answer writing again, okay, in a bit. If you don't have Samachar Manthan, अब खुद से पढ़ लो यार. The funda of these webinars is to tell you that पढ़ाई ऐसे करनी है. If you have any question with respect to this strategy, तो है. If you can afford to join the program, if you feel like this, you just want to clear UPSC in one attempt, one serious attempt, we'd love you to have as a student. If for whatever genuine reasons you're not able to join us, at least make sure that इस level पे competition आ गया है. It's as simple as that. Like, we make these magazines free. So you will get monthly burning issue magazine free, and out there in Telegram groups and everyone. So content will never be charging people for content. In fact, like I said, 25-30% of our proper content in Smash and UAP is also free. अब सब नहीं दे सकते because a lot of hard work goes on, and no one in industry is doing this level of research. But majority is free for you. But आप ये देखो, India EU relationship challenges, need for strong, back to basics, and it's done. 3 pages, highly condensed material. इसको पढ़ने में ही काफी टाइम लग जाएगा for you to kind of assimilate this. You'll take either repeated classes or time, or eventually you'll understand, but this would be the revision ready notes that every topper talks about. आप इसके ऊपर अपने हाईलाइट या एनोटेशन कर सकते हो, ठीक है? शुभम रंजन, ताने क्यों मार रहे हो यार? Now back to this. So this is how burning issue works. Okay, and that's simple. That's how you need to understand current affairs preparation.